Crows. You can follow us on Twitter at Crowns and Crows. You can see it there live on the screen. All of our individual Twitter accounts is going to be below in the comment section on YouTube or beneath this stream right now, or it should be soon as Valor Lakes actually does it. But other than that, thanks guys. This is a great show. We'll see you everybody again tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern, for a special episode where we sit around and do a roundtable with the devs, get all the juicy tidbits of information at. Hopefully they do not fall asleep on the couch that they're going to be sitting on talking to us, because I don't think they're going to be sleeping from now until then. So until tomorrow and until next Tuesday, good night everybody, and thank you very much.
Peace, guys.
See ya.
All right, that's a good place to stop. I think we can chat with the folks in Twitch chat there.
Yeah, did you plug the Golden Glory?
You did in the middle of the show.
Okay.
And Arrowwolf was right there and said thank you very much. I saw him say that. All right. Does anybody in the audience have any other questions we don't want to do? If you want, you can send them to us. We'll answer them next week, or we can answer them now if you want to.
This is like our little chat time.
Yes.
Like one-on-one almost, so.
And we like to this is our community time.
There we go. There we go.
Make the people happy on the forums that we don't include the community on.
Oh,
we
man.
do. It's just not official.
I don't know. Is it healthy to drink this much freaking caffeine at like 8 o'clock?
No, it's not.
Let's see.
That's an easy question, Valor. Oh my gosh.
Hey, but main ingredient is brewed Starbucks coffee.
Well, here's two questions right here. We got Mythoseria is like, what campaigns are we planning on playing? And there's only going to be one campaign at launch, which is going to be the Dregs. So I don't think we have much of a choice. Well, actually, there's going to be the Gods and whatever one too. God's Reach.
God's
I'm not
Reach,
playing
yep.
that. I am sick and tired of faction warfare. Screw that. It's free.
12 faction though is I mean, that's a little different, don't you think?
I'd like to see it in action. I'm not going to be stuck in the thing. No.
I mean, you'll play it in alpha just to see how it goes, but yeah.
Yeah. I know, and there's another one, NPD Theo. I don't know how to pronounce your name. How do you feel about guild EK rather than using certain players? I don't know. I think everybody should have their EK, and you just build it and throw your guild on there and have whoever do it. I think that's fine. I mean, I think not everybody's going to be in a guild or a massive guild. There's going to be people that are going to be groups of 5 people or groups of 2 people or by themselves. So
yeah, well, and there's 15,000 backers currently and climbing. We of course, every time we do a live stream, we take credit for everyone who pledges while we are live streaming.
Yep. I probably should have said it's only 40-something
craft.
hours left, whatever. But
our craft, thank you.
Yeah, but that's good, right? We're joining that back-end rush. We're helping out, so
yeah.
Congrats.
But talking about guild having the ability to get one for the guild, they have they've been asked this before, and there is not going to be a community or a logical account. One person is going to have to be the owner of that EK, and then
somebody's got to be the king.
And I feel guilds like LOTD, some of the older communities, they have a certain process for dealing with this. Some of the newer guilds, I'm a little concerned for. What happens when that person quits? Can you transfer ownership? That's something that I think what would end up happening is you'd have to go to a new EK, everyone would have to move over, and you'd start over. And I don't know how parcels, I don't think you can move parcels around.
I just think it's just the EK. People are going to use it. Just like anytime there's a guild leader in a game, I mean, you got to put some trust in somebody to hold the bank code for all your stuff. So, I mean, again, I think it just adds a little bit of complication. Eternal Kingdom.
Yeah,
I didn't say it on the stream, but the Eternal Kingdom is just such a thing that just it's just player housing, and you go there and you hang out.
Oh, but it's not. But it's not. That's what they keep saying.
So,
it's not player housing.
The game can be just like League of Legends, except for each game lasts 3 months, and you just stare at a client and a list of games that you can play. I mean, the game would work just like that also. It does make a difference.
So I've been saying that for a while, specifically, and I think this was my analogy because they kept on talking about soccer in this game, and they kept on, this is a soccer game, and this is the soccer season. But I was like, every soccer, including football, baseball, there's a World Cup, there's the Super Bowl, there's some kind of championship game. And I'm really glad that they announced that because I was like, quit using this analogy about the soccer season when there was no real definitive way of figuring out what that season was going to be. Who's the winner of the season? There would be no point. And I think that's one of the things that people were looking for the EK, is that was going to be a way to show some sort of season. But then it was like, are cosmetics going to be the one thing that shows how good you, right? Like, no, like, I don't care. Like I said, I've been saying this for a long time. Give everybody broomsticks. Let's circle up and see who's the winner.
The best part I heard today was that tournament thing they were talking about. Tournament campaigns, and it's like a ladder system. Like, let's do 1 month ones, 2 month ones, and by the end of the year, I mean, that to me, that just sounds like, summer and spring splits in League of Legends. And we know League of Legends is terrible at putting on esports, so, I mean, we can't learn anything from them. So I think if you actually do something like that, that's something that they can make live and people can pay attention to, and you can pick the biggest guilds, and they're broadcasted all over the place on Twitch in a couple years, and when the game's going pretty strong. And I mean, if you can put a game on Twitch and make it interesting, the game is going to grow, because that's how games grow these days. It's all right here, right now on Twitch.
People really enjoy watching. Let's keep moving on these questions though.
All right, I'm sorry.
Grading had the next one, I think. Have there been any announcements for the nation style of play that was found in Shadowbane? For example, smaller guilds being able to sub or declare fealty to larger guilds for campaigns, or even permanently.
Wasn't there a guild v guild? Whatchamacallit?
A what?
A guild
v guild. Guild.
There was. Yeah. There's a guild v guild, and they have definitely touched on fealty within campaigns, and that may actually tie into the EK system. I'm not sure that they've fleshed that one out. Even on their end, but they definitely haven't told us. But that's something that has been brought up before.
If
it's that'll be there.
If it's if it's been done in Shadowbane, it's a very good chance it's going to be done in this game. I think that's a safe bet. But again, there's nothing official.
But this isn't Shadowbane.
Yeah. Vortex22 had a question about merchant specialization. Do you take part in that lifestyle or go full PvP? With tons of Eternal Kingdoms, how do you feel about devs find a way to make it possible to find other Eternal Kingdoms? Well, we touched about this earlier on about the EK stuff. First, all of us here aren't merchants. We aren't PvP. We aren't crafters. We're all PvP players. We just want to go out and kill people and have fun that way. Merchant specialization is very good though, because it is kind of fun to have maybe an alternative character, because there's a lot some PvP games, there's a lot of downtime where like there's no PvP going on. You just end up hanging out at your castle, your fortification, doing nothing. So why not play an alt and do some crafting or something like that along the lines? I think Eve does it fantastically, and they have thousands of specialty skills for industrialization and trading and like all that other stuff. I mean, you'll see like trading to another player or an NPC unit, or doing some kind of turn-ins or whatever they might have part of it. You're going to see like save 10% this, or increase yield by 10%, all this other stuff. So you'll definitely see that, and I think it's very important because it just fleshes out those crafter classes.
I think to add on to that too, one of the things that I really like about alternates, and this is just coming from a PvP standpoint, is a lot of times I like to be a little bit self-sufficient. For majority of my stuff, I want to go out, get it done right away, hand it off to my PvPer and get this done. So that I think that gives an opportunity for people to kind of make some of the basics. And I think, didn't they talk about each archetype's going to have like a set amount of basic stuff to start with, and then the people that really want to get into the crafting depths have to specialize in it?
Wasn't that the runestones you could equip that you can have some
crafting
or something like that? I mean, I think that's fine. I mean,
Right, and that's fine because it appeases those people that really love crafting. They get to dive into it.
Yeah.
But the people that just want that basic armor set to kind of give them the baseline stats to go in and PvP, as long as they make that to where PvPers can kind of be self-sufficient in that aspect, I think that's a great concept.
And Vortex, about finding other Eternal Kingdoms, Valor brought this up during the show. I never saw the quote, but he found it. They're going to have some kind of global chat or regional chat or something within the Eternal Kingdom, so you can find each other people.
We don't really know about how how we're going to find other Eternal Kingdoms. Are they going to have a quote unquote server browser, a list? If you want to go to Lake's private Eternal Kingdom, do you have to know Lake? There's a lot that hasn't been really answered on how do you find Eternal Kingdoms. How you find people, that's easy. There's going to be that broadcast, but how you find Eternal Kingdoms, I think, is going to be an interesting one.
It'd be interesting if they take a lot of the modern technology when it comes to socialization of games, because World of Warcraft does it a fantastic type of way where characters that you're more likely to interact with happen to be in your phase of the game, because now you're not really on a server, you're on a collection of servers. So I mean,
How do you feel, Dragon, about them not going through and fleshing a lot of this out, but making it available for players too? I'm always a big fan of seeing, games like this providing players with the tools to, fill these kind of gaps.
Well, I mean, what gaps though? Like, what technically? What do you mean?
Well, so for instance, on this one, if you have some way, I've seen a question out there about, can you port your EK into like an armory type of thread on a forum, or and then allow players
like
to,
an API question.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and then allow players to they build their own browser, and let players really define what people want to look for and search for and join.
You mean create an API that says, here's what I could do, and you can plug it into a form, and you can browse a website to find somebody's EK, and then go into the game and go find it?
Yep. Right there. And
I'm
then,
fine with that. That's pretty good, because the biggest thing that's or the most important thing, that's what I was trying to say, of any game is to not only have fun playing the game while you're playing the game, but the majority of the time, most of us, we have jobs and families and girlfriends and boyfriends and all that other stuff that we have to figure out. We have a lot of time out of the game, and there's a lot of time sitting in front of your computer or your phone on the toilet or anything else like that. You want to be part of the game while you're not actually playing it, and a big part of that is getting that API out into the forums. Like, look at World of Warcraft does it fantastic. There's World of Logs, and they rank the top 25 people in the world for DPS on a boss. That's community right there, and you can use that as a resume and build it up and that type of thing. Other games have armories and chats and apps and all that other stuff. It's very important to get the game out of the game and onto the internet so you can do it while you're not there. I think
I was actually saying that last cast is specifically one of the things that I love API, and I love tech. I mean, we're all playing games. We love technology.
Sure.
Use it to your advantage. Making applications for your phone where you can chat to other people, have guild management systems outside of the game to keep connected with all your friends and your guild mates, and send private messages all outside of the game besides being on a forum like an application. The times are out there. You have
Gon seems to disagree with us on this a little bit, saying that it could be a bit rough. I think that there's merit in it. I think that as you guys keep bringing up, allowing players to really drive this, not only do we get to avoid the Windows Phone integration. Well, there we go.
Why would he care if you could find somebody's EK out of the game? Like, what difference does that make? How much time are you spending in your EK anyway that you're like, you want to search through lists? Why not? Well, that's a chore. Why not do it while you're sitting at work with your cup of coffee at 9:15?
Or what if the people that spend a lot of money on their EK, because we talked about it, they're probably gonna have cosmetics. Sure. One of the things about cosmetics is you want to show it off. Yeah. So having a system outside of the game to be able to show off your progression is kind of cool. Like, you can do something to where the person has like the most cosmetics or the most buildings on top. And there's just tons of different things. The API is just giving you the raw stats to be able to grab and create. And the creativity's out there. And I think they're going to facilitate that. That's something that they wanted.
I just hate seeing poorly done server browser type lists, because they just never work right. And then you're scrolling, and now you have to work in filters. And
the antithesis to all this was Guild Wars 2. Sorry to cut you off. I mean, they had the worst out-of-game contact. I mean, like, you wanted to do the SPVP like no other person, and there was zero support for that in-game and out-of-game with leaderboards, point scoring, finding teams, that whole type of thing. It was non-existent. And then World v. World, what we had, I think the first 2 or 3 months, you had to rely on a dev posting an Excel spreadsheet of points on the forums. I mean, there was, like, you can't do that with a aggressive PvP game. You need that has to get out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
So just real quick, I answered it, but Mythoseria, I think I said that right, but do we think EKs are going to be an EPing thing? And I don't at all, because, I mean, realistically, I think the EPing is going to come from the competitive side of the tournaments.
Wins and losses.
And if they have some, you have these tournament campaigns, flex your EPing because you just stomped everybody all season, and you're maybe, you're like the reigning champions of World War II, like you've won that campaign in that championship series. That's where you're going to flex. I think the EKs can be something, but I mean, me personally, I'm not going to think you're very, very cool or great at the game because you have a My Little Pony castle.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of like the bigger guilds like PRX or Lords of the Dead make their EKs private so no one can see their trophies.
I honestly, the old guilds actually, and this is somewhat awkward to talk about. They're very proud of their accomplishments.
Sure.
So you go on all these websites, and you'll see. And I even browse other guilds' websites
yeah,
and
their
just look at their
websites,
accomplishments.
sure.
And so that's a big thing. And when you are listed as one of the best in the game, that becomes your recruiting tool. A lot of the guilds who don't have a reputation, they're the ones who are out there actively recruiting, getting on the forums, picking up anyone and everyone. So it's part of a recruiting tool, and I think that being able to say, hey guys, we've got this big badass trophy, or this, what if the trophy maybe upgrades a building to look a certain way, gold leaf or whatever, that's going to be a point of pride. You'll see pictures of it. You'll see all this stuff, and they'll want people to know that it's there, and they'll want people to come and see it, because that kind of perpetuates everything.
I want to jump in here just real quick, because we've been talking a long time when we're technically not live. For anybody that's been joining us and listening in, our show ended about 20 minutes ago, I think, and we've just been kind of chatting with the people in Twitch chat right now. So this is actually technically not our show. That's why a little...
Yeah, we're just kind of going back and forth
just
here.
Rambling, right?
Yeah.
Rambling a little bit. There's no structure to this, so we're kind of joking on each other at this point. So this is not...
Back to it.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, bro. So back to a game that I thought did it well, and you talked about this championship trophy, was something Guild Wars 1 did. Is it's going to be hard because EKs are kind of personal, and everyone has their own, but there was... In Guild Wars 1, you had the ladder that was browser-based, so everyone can see who was top within the ladder on the on the Guild Wars website. On top of that, if you've won like a big tournament that they had a trophy in a common area of Guild Wars within one of the servers, and all the servers can go there. But it was like an NPC that had your name and your guild plaqued on there, so it showed how many people won and all the past winners.
I never played it, but didn't DCUO have the Herald that talked about leaderboards and who was badass and who wasn't for the day or week or something like that? I don't know if there's any DCUO people. Not DCUO, DOAC. I'm sorry. Dark Age of Camelot.
I think that's Valor's. Valor, that's where you're at, right?
Which
Dark
part?
Age?
No.
Herald?
No.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Never mind. I want to hit up, because this question irritates the crap out of me, because of whatever Vortex brought up.
Get to it. This is a good one.
Says, do you think about rating and destruction of EKs? EKs or a social lobby? Can we stop making them what they are? I'm sorry to yell at you, but I'm going to yell at you anyway, because this question is just like, look, the EK is all about building your little thing and having a good time, and you can log in and just kind of like shoot the shit when you don't have time to go into the campaign or whatever you want to do. That's where it is. And if you want to build stuff and blow stuff up, go into the campaign and build and blow other people's stuff up.
I think where this misconception came from, though, is, again, a lot of the misconceptions are simply early interviews. And, they talked about how EKs are going to be, this big square, and then you're going to have to use resources to cut down the trees and do all this other stuff, and that's how you clear land, and you can, add people to your land. I think in that wild, there will be mobs that you have to kill to just clear it out. Will they give you anything useful? Probably not. They might be some sort of materials used for building, such as trees and logs, stone, whatever it might be. But there's not going to be any meaningful PvE in an EK. And what is an EK? An EK is an eternal kingdom. They are each individual player's home base that they can build, share, or keep private.
Now, see, I mean, they made in Mythoseria set brought this up just right now. It's just like EKs are the soccer season. Let's ignore all the analogies that Arcraft made, because it confused the shit out of everything. Okay,
but it's like Game of Thrones. It's like
it's easy to understand.
God.
You just got to realize
it's a Throne War. It's the Throne War MMO.
EK's just there. It's not anything that means something. It's there as a social hub. Once you understand that, you will soon understand the game.
Well, here's the interpretation of the soccer season part of everything. The soccer season is you sitting on your couch on the weekends watching soccer on TV, drinking a beer, eating chips. That's the soccer season. It's you're waiting for stuff to happen. You're not actually playing anything. You're looking at stats, and you're just hanging out, waiting for the game to start. That's the soccer season. The game is actually the games on the weekends or whenever soccer plays their games. Maybe it's Thursday nights. I have no idea. But the soccer season is essentially you just sitting there eating chips, drinking a beer, not actually playing anything. I think that's what they're trying to kind of. That's what they came up with.
That's an interesting take. I took it as we are actually the people on the team.
You are when you're in the campaign.
Yeah.
When you're in the Eternal Kingdom, you're just watching everybody else's campaign go on. That's basically it.
Or, or you're back in your own gym. Yeah, let's come up with our own analogy.
No, no, analogies are dumb.
Just give me observer mode and tournament campaigns, and I'm done.
Yeah, that's one thing we're going to have to ask
They're
about.
like the ranch dressing for your cheesy bread from Pizza Hut. It's on the side, and you can use it if you want, but usually most people throw it away because it's disgusting.
Wait, what? You take that back.
That is the best analogy.
That is not.
Right
But that's a
not
perfect
throw away
analogy.
do not throw away your ranch dressing.
See, look, because you like the ranch dressing, so you're going to buy all that shit for your Eternal Kingdom. Right. You're going to buy the cheesy ranch, the garlic ranch. You're going to buy the buffalo wing ranch and everything else. And I'm just going to say that's all garbage. I don't want any of it. Thank you. I'll just take my pizza.
That's a beauty of it, right? Because it appealed to some people and some people disregarded, and that's the same concept.
Yeah, there we go. Crowns and Crows. We are our analogy for Crowfall is
Buffalo Wild Wing sauce.
The EKs are the ranch dressing to your
cheesy sticks. Mozzarella sticks. I don't care.
Now people are going to think we hate EKs. We don't hate EKs.
I hate EKs.
Oh, gosh. Let's Thomas Blair. The EK is the parm cheese and red pepper packets that come with a pizza.
Yes. Oh, my God. So you like red pepper or not?
Oh, man. And I douse my pizza in that stuff, Nothing's better than...
Dude, parm and red pepper?
Parm and red pepper.
I just realized we had that ranch dressing topic discussion, Thursday night last week, Fowler. Oh,
that's right.
I totally forgot about that. That brings it home.
I'm actually tearing up right now.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
right.
There it is. I don't hate the EKs. I think it's an awesome segment. I think EKs is a great idea. It gives them an avenue to monetize the game. It gives a place for people to build stuff and have a good time. Because frankly, people are going to lose. People are going to get upset about campaigns and all this other stuff. They might join a campaign accidentally. They're going to get bulldozed by Lords of the Dead or whatever. They're going to they could go to their Eternal Kingdom, and this is the thing that they've built up over the years. So they have a sense of home that they have. This is ours. So it's very good throughout the game because as long as they're not spending thousands and thousands of hours more developing it outside the campathings, I think as long as it's not a resource hog, I guess I should say.
Yeah. Do you think we've finally put to rest some of the misconceptions about the EKs? Do you think they're going to keep going? They're going to be everyone wants risk. Everyone wants risk. They want to war EKs. They want to do all of this. I told them, I talked to them face to face and said these exact same things, and they converted me to where I'm at now. And that is that the EKs just, they are what they are, and they won't be anything more because focus on the campaigns.
Let's see, is my boy Tiki in the audience here? He was watching earlier. He's a big fanboy of the game, and he did a really good job doing some synopsis of gathering all the Twitter answers, Q&A on the Reworld forum. So you can go check him out to kind of brought everything together. And
there was somebody put together all of those Twitter responses. Was that?
I don't know if he did it or he just pasted it or whatever.
He might have worked because this was a mod on the Crowfall forums.
He's also known as Tiki on the official forums. Teekey.
Yeah. Well,
he's a good dude. I've actually had a lot of conversations back and forth with him on the forums on Crowfall, like official forums. Him and I go back and forth.
The two of you are the eternal optimists of anything. You guys are the fan.
Oh my gosh, no!
I'm not 100% optimist, man.
Yes,
because I'd say I hate stuff all the time. I hate cosmetics. No, they're not, because they see the bright side of everything. I don't like some.
Play your role, Lakes. Play your role.
So
I'm the curmudgeon.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with this, and you touched on this. I am right down the middle. For me, the biggest thing that they can mess up in this game is the import-export rules. because if those are not balanced, people will game the system and they will gain an advantage in the campaigns and then parlay that into, more worldwide success. And that is, when people see someone taking advantage of a system, that is where you start seeing attrition, because nobody wants
to do it themselves.
Yeah, well, they try, but nobody. It's like macros. Nobody really enjoys using a macro. They just have to because that's what everyone else is doing, and that's how you lose people when they start having to do stuff they don't want to do.
I agree with you. I mean, that's going to be the biggest turning point of game design. It's going to be the easiest one to implement. It's going to be the hardest one to actually design because it's all numbers and everything else based. It's like, how do you bring shit from one place to another? And what does your gear do? I mean, like, you're wearing gear. Does it all go away? Do you keep it? What happens? I mean, do you bring mats in or out? Do you even bother? Is it like? I mean, there's so many different questions. Like we said during the show, I don't know. Like, because there's so many people out there that love playing the mercenary merchant or the mercenary crafter that goes place to place. And I mean, I can guarantee you, right now, there's about 1,000 people dreaming about the guy goes into the campaign, buys and sells, pays the penalty to leave that campaign, go to another one, and buy and sell. They're the mystical traveler of campaigns. They're the ethereal guy that sweeps between the shadows and appears where he's needed the most. And they're thinking of what is that Sanderson character that goes from world to world? Anybody read Sanderson novels out there?
Nope. World to World? Is that?
No.
Gulliver Travel?
Fuck, no.
Doctor Who?
No.
You guys don't read your.
What was that old show? Who's got the old show back in like the late '80s, early '90s, where the guy would travel back in time?
Hoyt is the character's name. So
Well,
you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. So I don't even know.
Well, I'm talking about that old TV show where he'd go back in time, and sometimes he'd go back and he'd end up a woman. Do you guys remember that? He could like time travel.
Oh,
What show much?
is it Shifter? No.
Oh, somebody's got to have this. I know. Quantum Leap.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
There's Quantum Leap. That's right. I was thinking of Sliders.
All right, Blake Steph, take care. We'll probably shut down things here in a little while and head over there ourselves. Yeah.
A Vortex about EKs being trading hubs. We covered that in the show, so catch it on YouTube when we put it up. It should be up whenever Lakes gets to it. So it's typically about last week was
usually it's when
after the show.
It's when YouTube gets to it. Lakes like, oh yeah, sorry, it's sitting there waiting to upload.
Well, YouTube usually takes a while.
It's in the mystical hub of waiting for it. Like I cut it immediately after the show. So
it's got to have.
All right. So let's see. Yobraham has some basic questions that I think we can hit on pretty quick. All right. So
can I show my awesome pre-show graphic again?
Oh yeah. So Yobraham, throw out some questions, brother. In the meantime, Jason's going to get working on his.
No, I just want to show this because I'm very happy with it. Oh, and if there's any Artcraft people listening, I need a high-res picture of that banner thing.
Look, between Eric and Dave, I mean, one of them's got to have that.
I tweeted it out. It was who the hell? Actually, go ahead. Go on whatever you were saying.
Yeah, Dave was the one who responded back to you. Oh, yeah. Campaigns. All right, campaigns are going to be the actual content of this game. They have a variety of different what are the rule sets for them. So you're going to have everything from friendly fire on on the dregs, which is going to be you still be gilded, but obviously you can attack anyone, all the way up to faction versus faction, guild versus guild. There's a variety of different rule sets, and they're going to tinker around with those during alpha. And that is where all of the resources for the game exist. So if you want to build your EK, you have to go to the campaigns. If you want to build gear, craft gear, you have to go to the EKs. If you break your gear and you need to repair it, well, you have to go to the campaigns to get the resources to take back to the EKs to craft into your gear. The campaigns are what everyone's going to focus on. It's where all the PvP is going to happen. Except for there'll be some PvP in the Eternal Kingdoms, but anything meaningful is going to take place in the campaigns. And what those are, they're going to be a unique map every single quote-unquote campaign, and the map will last between 1, 6, 12 months, whatever they end up doing. And on those campaigns, that's where you progress through. They have 4 seasons. It gets more difficult as time goes on, and then the campaign ends winners are decided, and that's where you get to find out whether or not you get to take out of the campaign anything.
All right, there's now 56 people still watching the show, which is awesome, and we have on Twitter only 57 followers. We can't. All 56 people better be followers of this show. So here's a link. Hopefully.
Oh, Dragon doesn't have link permissions.
Oh, you sons of bitches!
What do you mean? I see Dragon's link.
Because you're a mod, you see what was deleted.
Yeah.
Well, let me mod you.
Do that, please.
We're Crowns and Crows, aren't we? No, we're not. Yeah, we are. Crowns and Crows.
Damn it!
Is that a real question?
There you go.
Well, the Twitter link. I just want to make sure.
Everybody go follow us, please. If you're on.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Gonsaku is old now, so he doesn't quite understand the Twitter sphere. That's probably why.
He probably refers to it as Twitter book.
He's like
combining.
Are you gonna twit to people?
Twit.
Oh, it's hashtag tweet.
Hashtag tweet. Yeah, there we go. All right, still not used to. Yeah, it took me a little bit. Honestly, I didn't really get into Twitter until I started working with Lake and realizing just how much is out there. It's so much easier to follow and find information than Facebook, because I was always big in Facebook, and then I moved out of Chicago, and then all of my Chicago friends stopped talking to me. I was like, well, Facebook sucks now, so. Can you go from a campaign to going to craft and sell your stuff? You have to stay in the map for months. You have to stay in the map. However, you can go back to the EK, craft, and sell stuff. You cannot take stuff back into the campaign your character is on. And honestly, that's actually a good question is, what if you have 3 characters, you drop one character in a campaign, the window is still open, can you drop another character in that same campaign and bring in more stuff for your one character?
That's one of those things that you talk about, like balancing as far as something they're going to have to control. I'm not sure. They haven't said anything from what I've seen, and that's probably something that they're sitting on the back burner trying to develop those kind of rule sets on what you can do. Like one character per campaign kind of deal, but you can play multiple different campaigns because you can have up to 3 characters. Or 4. I think you can have up to 4 with VIP, and you have the added character slot. I think it's correct, right? Or you buy the Kickstarter off, give you 1 more character slot.
Yeah, Kickstarter gives you 4. You can probably buy more character slots, but you only get the 3 that have active passive training.
So I guess back to it is I don't think that you're going to be able to bring in multiple characters into the same campaign just for obvious reasons of what you just said. Yeah. But I mean, they're not going to limit you. You can play multiple different campaigns and move on from there.
What if you have a lot of non-VIP accounts? Can you bring in a bunch of different VIP accounts filled with gear and resources, import all of that, drop it on your VIP account, and rinse and repeat?
No, because that'd be the same thing. That'd be the same thing as you having 3 characters regardless. So you'd be muling for a main character, essentially, within the campaign. So it gives you a little bit of
different
added
accounts,
benefit.
though, right?
But they're different accounts. You should be,
right. Well, okay. So it's different accounts, but how would you regulate that? You can't, right?
No, you can't.
You really can't.
Because there's so much stuff.
Why not allow to do it? Because first Artcraft's going to get $50 or whatever for the boxes. So they're like, sure, go ahead and do that. You still have to play all those characters and get them leveled up and gather stuff. So you're still
have to
playing
buy the game. It's not a free account. It's you buy the account, and then you just don't pay the monthly sub. Got you. All right, that'll help. That'll definitely help.
I think you can, but they can't regulate it. It's one of those things that it's going to be a way around the system.
Why would they want to regulate it, though?
Oh, who just popped up on my suggested who to follow is the lovely Miss Natalie, who did all of the interviews and is an actress here. Interesting.
Did she buy a website today?
Natalie.
.porn.
We're probably going to get in trouble for that one.
I'm bringing the beginning of the show to the end of the show.
There we go.
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift.
Full circle. Yeah. I wonder what. Here, wait. When did those go live yet? Taylor?
What No. I think she bought them. So like,
I know,
so someone did the buy the campaign or buy it, and then guarantee they found the domains, and they're like, no.
It'd be awesome if she actually put together a little website that said,
Taylor Swift
thank you,
porn, and it was
Taylor
like
Swift porn, and saying thank you for your interest. Now go fuck yourself.
Get owned. It's just one of those Kappa faces, right?
Oh yeah. Wait, how many times can I swear on this before we are forced to be a mature?
It takes a lot to be a mature rating for one of these things.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Auto it script macros for running to queries and embargoes.
Look at that. On the front of Kickstarter.com, you have Crowfall as one of the top flashing banners here.
Oh, I haven't. Pretty cool. Every time I type in Kickstarter, it just takes me directly to their page.
I just go to Kickstarter.com.
Yeah, it's just like I have the autofill in it. Just takes me right to the. All right, so, however, their headline is "A computer you can throw, Hackaball turns programming into playtime."
Look at this shit on the fly. Here we go. I'm just gonna cover whose face wants to be covered. Lakes, how about you?
What are you gonna do?
What are you doing?
Are you gonna like add stuff around my camera?
You could say around, sure.
I don't know if I like.
Oh, I'm seeing it.
So here's the front page of the Kickstarter. Kickstarter.com has Immortal Champions, Eternal Kingdoms. See, there's all the EK stuff again. It's pretty cool.
It's really small. Can you make it over Valor's face too, and yours? So then we'll just cover all the ugly.
Yeah. Oh, where did I go here?
Including myself.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, here you go. So yeah, here's the front page of Kickstarter, which is awesome. And if you go to KickTrack, the ranking of Kicks things, Crowfall's number one right here, which is nice.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, they've been extremely successful. So they, like, from the very beginning, they were on track to just do great things within their Kickstarter. They reached their goal. What was it? 72 hours. They reached their initial goal, I believe, but they reached half of it in less than 24 hours. So that's pretty huge. Like, those are great numbers coming out. I think the only other game that did just as good within the past couple years is Camelot Unchained, right? I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that those two games have been kind of very successful in this Kickstarter deal.
Yeah, they did. Let's see. Since I guess earlier in the day, they've hit about $40,000. They've had about 400 backers. I mean, they're still cranking it out there. And how many more hours? We got 33 hours to go right now. So we're gonna be when we get the interview tomorrow night. We're gonna have I guess 10 hours to go. I think 24. Not 8 hours to go, 8 or 9 hours to go.
Bringing in the home stretch. Well, so I'm actually really interested and excited to get the one-on-one time with these guys because I've had tons of questions from the beginning because I've been one of those people that have had questions about the EK and I kind of started to develop and figure it out. But at this point, like tomorrow, I'm going to have a good time just sitting there and asking and getting in depth about some of the mechanics. One, PvP is one of my big things. I think that's all the things that we want to know and see what – maybe they may not be able to give us the answers that we want, but we're going to be able to at least see where they're coming from and some of the stuff that they like from other games. And if chances are, if all three of them or all four of them like that specific mechanic, there's a possibility you might see it, or there's potential to see it within Crowfall. So I think it's going to give us a good guess on a lot of different things out there.
The way to get them to answer questions, and I don't know if any of those guys are still watching here, is essentially you can't ask them about the design of the game because they don't know, so they're not going to answer it. So battering them over the head, like, what are you going to do with this, that, or the other, it ain't going to work. But I think if we discuss theory crafting and design elements and how it works with player interaction. We had this discussion, me and Val had this discussion last night about how to make this show successful is not it's the what if rule. So everybody can call us out on the what if rules every single show. If you start saying, wouldn't it be cool if the line of thinking starts with that kind of phrase, then it's going to be a terrible couple-minute segment. So we have to avoid the theory crafting when it comes to, would it be cool if Eternal Kingdoms you can make a soda fountain and give everybody a different color soda and coat? I mean, like that's.
That'd be kind of nice. No, I'd be okay with some soda.
What's your?
All right, I'm going to change your name to Bionic Arm. Put that in your title.
Look, you know what? I'm not promising that topic won't come up again. I haven't given up yet. All right, we've got them on the hook tomorrow. Did you guys touch on Vortex and the EK Trading Hub?
Sorry, what was that?
What?
Vortex's question about the EK Trading Hub.
That was like 10 minutes ago.
I think
that said 9:13.
I'll just bring it up real quick. So EK Trading Hub, some people are going to have their EKs, and they're going to set it up specifically for trading. A lot of the big main crafters out there are going to be creating their EK, and they're only going to sell their stuff within that hub. I know that there's a lot of guys that aren't going to go to different campaigns and provide services like crafting. They're going to make you come to them for a couple reasons. One, it's to build their own publicity and build that campaign up. Two, there's taxes. So everything sold within that within that EK, the owner of that EK gets a percentage of the sale. So if you're selling on your own piece of land, then you're going to make a little bit more money and you're going to create this revenue. And if people are coming there and you create this big hub, then there's going to be a lot of transactions going on there, because then other crafters may be like, hey, can I sell stuff on your EK because you're popular and everyone's coming to you? Then it's just going to be this big social hub. So yes, you are going to see it, but I don't think it's going to be to the extent of this is going to be the EK to go to for all your crafting needs.
I don't know. It might.
It might.
Jitta and Eve.
It depends. I mean, it really depends on. Honestly, the way for them to make this work is to make resources not freely available. If everyone has, their crafters to 100 and, all of that, and there's tons and tons of resources all over the place,
there's
then
going to be hubs.
There will be hubs to extent, but you won't need to go there because
tunnels,
every 50 people can get together and have just as much as 500 people. And so for me, I really think that by restricting resources, they will make crafters more valuable. Just because if you want those that best gear, you're going to really have to go find who's selling it, go to their EK, and hang out there. And,
if it's restricted, right? The people that may be getting those big resources could be the large PvPers that are continuously winning these campaigns. So you're going to have your crafters involved. So let's just talk about guilds in general. So we have LOTD. We go in. We have our PvPers and our crafters to be successful within the game, but we're funneling all of our resources into our personal crafters. I don't know if every crafter, even if you're the skilled crafter, are going to have those resources. You're going to have to couple yourself with people that are going to help you win those campaigns. So I think it's going to go hand in hand with good communities getting rich and making that kind of stuff.
It's impossible to tell what's going to happen because it happens differently with every game. And if you hit a critical mass of population, you're always going to have one or two hubs that are super popular because it just makes the economy more efficient. It happens. It's like that's how economies develop. You're going to have places to do business, and that's where you're going to go. You're going to be like, oh man, I can't sell shit in my EK, or my friend's EKs never have anybody word. And then you go into the forums, it's like, oh shit, so and so's EK was talked about being sold, whatever. Maybe you don't have a ton of people there, but 1,000 people saw their forum post because everybody's talking in it, and so they go there. And all of a sudden, that becomes something somehow, and whatever. That person becomes famous, and he makes a lot of money.
So Total Biscuit has his own EK, and then all the viewers are hanging out there. And
sure.
So that's you could definitely
speaking British with Tully.
I mean, that's what's going to happen.
You guys want some crumpets?
You're gonna whoever has the most exposure, whether it's a viral exposure or
don't tell Tully I said that.
I mean, that's how it's gonna happen. Whoever has the most exposure, where it's viral or it's a following. Like if Crowns and Crows had their own EK, I mean, maybe everybody, all 1,000 of our viewers wanted to hang out there or something like that.
What are you guys looking forward to most as individuals from Crowfall?
A game that works.
Oh gosh.
I guess aside from the basic stuff of I want a fluid game that has meaning to it. So I there's a few things. So I can't really put it on one specific thing, but I love PvP. I want fluid, good combat, and I think a lot of people want that. On top of that, I love leaderboards or some sort of place where I can represent my skill level. I think
not just knowing you're the best and having people running away from you in open combat's enough. You also want to be able to screenshot something.
Well, what about the other people in the other campaign that doesn't know that I curb stomp every person up there? Like, they need to know that if they're going into a campaign against me, like this guy has been murdering people for 6 months now. maybe you want to watch out for them. Like, that's the kind of stuff I look for in a game: a leaderboard and fun combat.
Here are my notes from. Well, you can't see it. I'm trying to show it to the audience here, customers. These are my notes from the whatchamacallit, the Rerolled interview. See the top 3 things? These are the top 3 most important things for. I'm going to say them in any game for me. It's the user interface, it's the character building, and it's combat. If combat's not fluid and the combat sucks, then the game is going to suck. And that's what happened to War. Their combat, they had to invent a method of unit at a time just for themselves for the game to actually work. Character building, because that's what failed with WildStar. That was hella bad freaking character building. And of course the user interface. No one likes a really busy, super stupid user interface. The game looks ugly and you just get pissed off that you have to fight against the user interface just to transfer one item to somewhere else, much like Darkfall did with their looting system. So that's a good example about that. So in any case, those are the 3 most important things to any game. The combat, what you do most in any game, MMO, is fight stuff. So if fighting sucks or it's boring or it doesn't feel good, the game is not going to be fun.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to add, to the things that you guys said, which I agree with. I'm going to add, stability in large fights. That is another thing that will drive people away, and every game has seen it. Guild Wars 2 saw it when you got the Zerg balls together. It just became unplayable, and if nobody wants to fight in a slideshow, and they dealt with it by culling, and then they tried doing some other stuff, but if they are able to do the voxels, if they're able to do the animations, all the little characters and everything, and the game have a decent frame rate and it's stable, people aren't crashing out, I think that alone, as long as the combat and everything that you guys have brought up, that will be what seals the deal.
When I list these 3 things, I'm already going to assume that the network code and the servers actually work. I mean, when you're designing a game, and I'm talking to Todd about game design elements. It's out of his hands whether the server is going to work. That's why he hires experts to actually make the back end stuff. What he has a hand in is how fluid the combat is, and whether or not you release the game with the combat system it has, and all that other type of stuff. I mean, that's kind of where he has more direct hand in, I think, about the different elements of the game. At least I hope so, as the lead guy there. But yeah, I mean, whenever I say, I'm assuming that when you press forward, your character goes forward at a nice crisp pace. So
yeah,
that's that.
No, we haven't really talked about lore, and there's just nothing really to dig into.
I won't talk about lore
there's
ever.
archetype storylines behind them, but there's not like a big lore thing. And I've never been a lore kind of guy. I just want to know that the character's cool.
The first MMO that I ever played, I actually went through the storyline, and I don't think I ever completed it. And that was the farthest. Actually, Guild Wars 1, I went through most of the storyline. I watched the prince die. Spoiler alert, by the way.
Decade-old game.
Yeah. I never dig into the lore. I just, for me, it's all about the competition and killing people. So lore is probably never going to be a big point for us, but they haven't gotten into it at all. I mean, they've given some biblical style excerpts, but will it be interesting? I don't know. Todd really seemed excited about it on the forums or Twitter today about getting to dig into it some more. So
the lore, you mean?
The lore, yeah. He really wants to dig into writing some of that, and I think once the Kickstarter's over, they can finally.
Sure, I mean,
there's a lot of people that love lore across the board. Like, they love lore in a PvP specific game, like League of Legends. Like, there's people that follow the lore for that, and that's crazy to me. Like, that's not something that I take care of.
A lot of people are very cerebral when it comes to that. It helps their immersion. It gets them really into the game, and I'm too cynical for that to actually get me to actually like the game. I just say the game works. I get to kill people, and it's fun to actually play. I'll play it regardless of the storyline. But for some people, that really helps them channel their enjoyment, so to speak. So, I mean, if the lore is good, great. But I think the 3 of us here, we probably will never talk about lore unless there's something that's funny that popped up on Twitter and we actually noticed it.
You know what? Here's something that I do like is I like post-fact lore. I like somebody who goes through and writes lore about what has taken place in a game. I think that is wildly interesting.
Backstory, you mean?
Yeah, well, it's more like you have a campaign, the campaign unfolds, you get to the conclusion, somebody wins, and then somebody who's been on that campaign goes back and writes out an entertaining story about how that unfolded.
Well, that's kind of neat though. That's just community kind of creation type of stuff. Where I mean, I think I wouldn't even consider that lore. I would consider that just kind of like fan art, fan writing type of stuff. That could be really neat and.
Yeah.
Hopefully someone
You know what?
Whatever.
What game did lore good that I actually paid attention to? First and only game that I cared about lore, and it was a
Hello
PvP
Kitty.
game, and it was Dawngate. Dawngate's lore was very much into the game itself. If you had two characters on the same team and they were walking next to each other or by each other, they interact with and say certain things to each other based off of the lore that happened. So like if brothers and sisters, or if they were enemies, they talk crap about each other, they egg each other on, they joke with each other. It's all based off of the lore, and that translates into the game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Somebody asked a question about hunger and its effects. That's something I think we can talk to them about tomorrow.
Yeah,
so tune in tomorrow, guys. Some of these questions we just don't know enough about, and as Dragon was saying, we don't particularly want to talk about a lot of, well, what if this happens and it's done this way. So with hunger, that's something that I think we can put together a decent question on and talk to them about.
Yeah, Todd had a couple quotes today about it's basically it ramps up. It doesn't add to the PvE, just makes mobs like stronger and more of a pain in the ass for you to get across places. Kind of like more of those survival zombie kind of games. I think he actually quoted Walking Dead. I think with some of that stuff. So I think they're just going to be parts of the map that are just dangerous that you have to either avoid or conquer. It's not going to be an objective. It's just going to be like a barrier of entry for certain things. So, and maybe they drop like materials and stuff like that you can gather, fur or eyeballs or rat dicks or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We are most definitely going to be censored next time. Like next time, click, hey, this is inappropriate.
This is inappropriate for some audiences.
I said rat dick?
That's one word, all right? That's not
hyphenated. It's hyphenated.
How are your experiences with trekking on underwater in games? I think that Guild Wars 2 actually did a fairly decent job with water. Arcage had a nice system with water, but is really outside the realm of what Crowfall can accomplish. And Todd even touched on that on Twitter. He's given a lot of props for how Arcage handled their boats and their water. But Guild Wars 2 did a decent job where they had some floating elements, and there just wasn't any real reason to go underwater.
No. Well, I mean, they gave you different weapons, and it was like whatever.
Yeah,
it
was interesting. It wasn't balanced very well.
I would like to avoid all underwater combat because it's just the camera angles are really tough to work in a 3D environment that sort of way. But I think the best type of water stuff is, like you mentioned, the Arcage ships. Like if Pirates of the Burning Sea was like that, just that game would have been amazing. But it wasn't.
Well, there's a lot of things that could have happened in Pirates of the Burning Sea.
What if?
What if?
Yeah.
What if they didn't do everything that they did, and instead did something different?
So Gon talked about, he's like, do you support in-game cannibalism to conquer the hunger?
Oh man, there are a lot of games that have had that asked. Rust, I think, was the last one that I saw somebody even come close to touching it. And I think they still shied away from it. I don't know. I think there might be some religious undertones or
rating
moral,
things, right, with your game.
Moral things where nobody wants the next time somebody eats somebody else, they're gonna be like, it was because of that game Crowfall.
Valor, I think a good topic for a later show, if we can ever get some answers to kind of flesh it out, would be the whole hunger element of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really worth talking about, just because it's different.
Yeah, I'm gonna add that to our questions list for tomorrow as well, and see if we can dig some of that out.
Is it like do you have a stat? I guess there isn't there a stat where you don't get as hungry as fast or something like that? I've totally forgot they had.
That might be a discipline.
Hardiness or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has an effect, but I think that would be
anorexic.
I think that would be
minus 10 everything.
I think
minus 10 everything, but you don't ever eat.
I think it might have a really cool element where if you have to build certain shelters, you have to eat certain times a day. Might really, help you if you're like PvPing over like 5 hours. You might have to
It'll-
stop
it'll-
to eat or something like that.
It'll cut
because-
down, it'll cut down on the size of the groups, depending on the availability of resources. And that's one of the biggest concerns. And I don't want to touch on this yet. I want to get into it when we talk about hunger, because this could also be a good limiting factor for Zerg. So,
Well, I mean, like, what do you really would you really want to see the tediousness of having to lug food from your castle to wherever you're fighting? Do you actually want that to happen? Do you think people are actually going to enjoy being the one guy that
So,
had
like,
to level
survival
up
game.
their, like
it's just
caravan
it's
skill
just
to-
like it's just like H1Z1 or any of the other survival games out there, where you have to dedicate a certain amount of your inventory space to carrying your supplies.
Right, but like
And-
no, they're mounting up a caravan, they're creating a caravan, and you're
Mm-hmm.
just lugging a wagon full of rat dick meat over to where everybody's fighting. Do you really want to get that job as you're the PvPer? You have to guard the rat dick too.
Everybody has to do it. Everybody has to do it. I mean, somebody's going to have to guard that caravan anyway. I mean,
Sure, but-
somebody's going to have to do it, and that's never the fun job,
Mm-hmm.
but that provides that extra element of weight.
It might be fun to guard it because PvP might happen, but what if you're the guy that has to steer the wagon of rat dick? I mean,
Oh no,
do you really want that?
puddle ducks. Oh, just tuned in.
So the only thing I have on that is being able to carry your food's one
Bunch of
thing.
rat dick
I could
conversation.
go either way. The one thing I don't want to see is I have to spam eating food like H1Z1, like
No.
pick up, like just keep on spamming. Like that drives me insane. I hated
If you have to
H1Z1 for
physically
that
click on
specific.
food
Pick
to
up
eat,
blackberries. Yeah, it's
It's gonna be
stupid.
dumb. I think because basically back in the day when MMOs had you get hungry and thirsty, not MMOs, MUDs. Let's go even further back than that. MUDs.
I love muds.
Gotcha.
That was where I really cut
Mud
my teeth.
dogs, baby.
Man,
Yes. So
that's where I really cut my teeth.
we could talk about that at a later date. But you had a script. You had a macro that triggered off. You were hungry. You were thirsty. You would just automatically eat from your inventory. And I think that you should have a food slot
I'm okay-
or something
I'm
like that, and just like
okay
make
with
sure
that.
as long as you have it in your inventory, you're not getting hungry.
That'd be
Okay.
cool. I really like bringing that concept in of having a food slot. Like that'd be huge because no one wants to click and right click eat, right like over and over again. It's
No.
tedious.
That-
Or
No one needs that kind of gameplay.
you can allow that to maybe take the place of one of your defensive. As I said, if we're going with my plan, because my plan's always best. If you have active combat skills and you have your passive defensive skills or whatnot, sacrifice something so that you can have that as a convenience. Whatever it might be.
Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, so-
I mean, it can't be so automatic. Maybe like once you start getting hungry and thirsty before you sleep, maybe you can't sprint anymore or something. There's got to be some kind of detriment because people are just going to stack food and water or whatever in your inventory. You never get hungry, you never get thirsty, and
Yeah.
it kind of takes away from the game. So it can't be truly automatic. But I don't think it's like you need to stop, click on this, and then keep on going. Maybe you're forced to have to camp or rest. Because I remember, did you ever play DDO, Dungeons and Dragons Online?
I did not. We had a couple people from LOTD get into that, but I thought they were a bunch of. I don't want to get censored, so.
It was a very good PvE game. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, right.
And there was no health regeneration, there was no mana regeneration, and it was kind of like a lot of the point-to-click kind of single-player RPGs. But their health skills and spells were like you had only like 3 of them or whatever, like D&D type of stuff. But there were shrines throughout a map or a dungeon or whatever where you can stop, rest, and sleep and recharge your abilities. Maybe there'd be forced camping or something like that. You have to set up camp because you've been traveling for 15 hours of game time and you need to eat something or something like that, or sleep, or gain back fatigue points or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. How do you spell
So
incoherent?
I have not.
Incoherent?
Google that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, Dragon, I got a
Whatever.
question for
I'm
you.
just
So
gonna
we
go
were
with it.
talking about specific skill slots and how many you can
Right.
have. Do you feel like things that benefit you in the long run of like winning a campaign, like maybe a caravan or a mount, take up one of those skill slots? So that forces you to be able to do certain things. Like, what's your outlook on that whole thing?
You mean you have to equip a mount to actually use it, and it's part of
Within
your
your
actions?
skill slots. Yeah, it's one of you have 10 slots and you choose what you want, whether you want to have a caravan in there or you want to have a mount or all your
Yeah,
all
I
the
think it's
combat skills.
unless there's combat on mounts, unless that's a thing, I think it's a redundant thing. Just because you're going to be able to switch in and out those abilities out of combat, I would hope, instead of having to lug back to a shrine somewhere to do it. So, if they allow you to swap them in and out of combat, which I hope they do anyway, you'll just be able to switch in and out of mount skill anyway when you're out of combat. So in order to alleviate all that stuff, why not just have it hotkeyed from your inventory or something like that?
Well, what about a caravan? So caravans are going to bring your stuff, and you kind of have to build towards doing that farm run. So you're trying to bring those resources maybe back from that mill back home. Do you think that people would have to?
Well, here's the thing. Are they going with like a Diablo-style inventory system? I never kind of locked in on that. I kind of just ignored that. Are they going with a traditional MMO inventory system, or is it going to be like multiple
they said
like
it's
Tetris inventory?
It's going to be more of, it was like UO. He said specifically
like Darkfall
UO
type of thing, where it just stacks on stuff.
Yeah, I believe that's what he said.
And if maybe a caravan.
Where's Aerowolf when you need him?
I don't know. I mean, if carrying a caravan item with you that spawns a caravan or whatever, maybe that has more weight, makes you run slower. Maybe it takes up a lot of your inventory stuff. Because I know a lot of MUDs, your inventory was based on every item had a weight to it, and your bags had a weight.
Are we recording this as well? Is this going to be in the recording on YouTube?
No. So what I do is I cut the specific show, and then I put that onto YouTube. So
let's do an outtakes clip. Can we do that?
Have you been copying this, Lakes?
Is this recording? Like?
It auto records. Auto archives.
Yeah, this is archived on Twitch.
And then I cut and highlight everything and put it into the highlight show. So on Twitch it's cut and highlighted, and then on YouTube it's cut and highlighted.
Okay. So I don't recall. Do you actually do the whatchamacallit, editing and then upload it manually yourself to YouTube?
No, so what I've been doing is doing it through Twitch. I cut it and highlight it onto Twitch, and then it auto uploads.
Right.
But I can't do that now because we have the intro outro. And to be honest, this is what I was going to talk to you about after the show. I do not know how to do video editing.
I've got a friend who
I can do it. I mean, I can do it. I know how to do it. I did it. I was just hoping I could give somebody else that responsibility.
I don't know it. No, I don't know.
I'll do it if you can. If you can give me, can you? We'll have to. I'll start recording locally on all of our streams. So, if we don't have the
Don said he could show me later on how to do it.
It's easy if you have the programming.
Right, that's the thing is I don't have the program, but I think Gon will kind of lead me in the right direction.
Sony
lead you along the directions for that.
Whatever it is. Gon can probably help you out with there.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, Vortex has really wanted to know what we think about blessings and their effect on campaigns, and this is something that we still don't know what blessings are going to be, but I can't imagine them having a significant impact directly on PvP. I really, really expect these to be things such as skill gain plus 5%, or mining plus 8%, or something along those lines.
Out of combat movement speed?
Out of combat movement speed plus 5%. Something along those lines where it is not a direct plus strength, plus block, plus parry, if they're trying to make it as even as possible at the start of these campaigns, they are completely throwing all of that to the wind once they start incorporating blessings that have direct impact on PvP. Camtasia. I actually have a copy of that. Somebody gave me a copy of Camtasia. I forgot about that.
Sounds like somebody's doing video editing.
Oh, did we?
No, it's not. I can do it. You have to give me the raw file. I don't know if you can get that to me.
Maybe
what I do is I rip it from a link, like a URL, whatever. You plug in the URL of the Twitch show, and then or the highlight, and then it pulls it and downloads it for you, and then that's how you get the raw file.
You can show that to me.
Yeah. So JBig just said the backer. All Father blessing is plus 1% to skilled skills trained, I think is what it should have said. So, I mean, I think that that's the direction they're going to go with that. And, you know, he actually asked, oh, God.
What's going on?
Look at Twitch. Look at Twitch. So, you know, he also asked about, you know, how I felt about, you know, the kind of the transition to PVX, which for people who aren't really familiar with the different terminology, PvP, obviously people know. PvE, people understand. PVX is really what a lot of communities have had to focus on just because of how poorly games have been able to integrate the two into a single system. And I think Crowfall actually is going to provide us with, you know, kind of taking us back to the roots before there was a PvEer and a PvPer, and everyone just really had to focus on what they're good at. And yes, there will be crafters and there will be, you know, PvPers, but I wouldn't necessarily call a crafter a PvEer. They're simply, you know, a person playing the game to get out of it what they want to get out of it. And, you know, they're not really focused on rage, and they're just focused on getting their crafting done and, you know, making a name for themselves, becoming rich and wealthy.
It's a support role.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
Yeah,
it's not
just,
an active PvP support, actively PvPing, but it's a support role that's going to be necessary within this game.
Just like you would say about healers, or which they're not going to have, but healers or buff, you know, whatever, buff bots, or I don't know, whatever it is.
Buff bots.
Buff bots.
I love
you
active
are going to be my buff bot.
Well, so it depends on how good you are, right? So if you suck, I'm gonna have to pick up a.
Wait. No, it depends on how good you are. You know,
take it back.
Look,
so
I can go out there and kill anybody as long as I got good support.
Well, we were talking about that last time, right? Is like I love active protection or active buffs that are very quick, split second, that definitely turn the outcome of a fight. What I don't really like is those guys that's like, hey, circle on me. Let me just buff everybody AoE, and it lasts 30 minutes. Like, it's super lame. So I'm hoping that that's not something that they want to do. But as far as like supporting actively going into the game, like I'm really into those split-second quick reaction spells. Like, that's one of my things. I like interrupting as a class. Like, what if there's a specific class that you can kind of build disciplines to interrupt those animation locks or those long cast times that people have? And we talked about this with Guild Wars 1, was that there was classes like Mesmers and Rangers, and those guys, some of their goals and the builds and paths that they went was to sit back there and interrupt some of the big damage dealers from doing specific skills. And I think that's one of the cool things about this game, is there's a possibility to have that build path with your discipline to be something that interrupts those people that are kind of trying to do make, like maybe the Frostweaver, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
To stop them from doing these big cast spells or these big AoE damage spells, like you just interrupt them, and now at that point the stuff goes on cooldown and you have the advantage because they weren't able to use that spell. So and then that brings in the other thing is now you can bring in cancel casting, which cancels and you bait out that interrupting class. So it's really in depth. I think Guild Wars 1, for being just a very tab-targety PvP style game, it was so in depth on the micro mechanics of that game, like weapon swapping when you're getting attacked by a certain style of damage. It's huge.
Yep. Well, let's see. We got anything else? No. It looks like Gon's going to Japan. That's about the extent of it. USA versus Russia.
Yeah, you guys mentioning Sony Vegas. That's what I use for all my video editing.
Oh, there you go, Sony Vegas. That was a program. Yeah, I might have given that to somebody. Honestly, I had a box back when I was working at CDW, and there was one of the lesser known software companies. I just go around and hand out their software because of how cheap it is. And so they gave me a box. I might still have that, so we'll see.
I think that does it for today. I think
we hit a good spot. So after this, I'll highlight the video. I'll download it real quick, and then I'll just send it through Skype to you, the raw file.
How big is the raw file for an hour-long show? That's got to be like a...
Dude, it's going to be massive.
Gigs or
massive.
I can give you the link. It might be...
What? Look how big the file was last time.
Yeah, Dragon, I hope you've got that... high-speed fiber or something, because
I got 80 up and down. I can take
80?
8 up and down?
80?
That's what
80's not 80's not enough. You need to get on like Google Fiber or something.
I wish
Get that 1,000 up and down.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna go. That's what I'm going to. The house that
Don,
I'm
I need
moving
to cut
into.
it.
Yeah, the house I'm.
Fuck you all. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk offline about Twitch so we don't have to bother everybody. But I'm gonna stop streaming now. See you guys tomorrow night. Do we want to go on early and chat with the community a little bit tomorrow night?
Maybe we can grab some questions, like for the live
Yeah.
people that don't send them in, and we could grab a good base of questions beforehand. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, I've got some questions already snagged, and then
Why don't we do this?
People are sending them in to me.
Why don't we do a community-based thing? Why don't we see if we can promote it on Twitter, on the forums? If you guys are able to get on, we'll start at 8. We go to 8 to 8:30. Do some community chat type of stuff. We'll go
You're
dark.
talking Eastern time again.
Yes, Eastern time. Or for you 7 o'clock Central. We'll do a half hour of Q&A and chat just like we're doing now. We'll go dark for a half hour, and then we might have to go offline for a little bit as we calibrate with the guys getting on close to 9 o'clock. We'll go live with the show and then kind of repeat. What do you think about that?
I think that's good. I know the Golden Glory guys said they're going to do a handoff. So.
Oh, we got to coordinate stuff now. Oh man, it's gonna be.
No.
Anyway.
They're simply going to tell people to for free. But I'll be following them some as well. That way.
Okay. We'll talk offline tomorrow about what we want to do. So maybe we'll see an announcement that we'll go live early and do some.
If you guys are still watching, make sure follow us on Twitter, and you can subscribe to our thread on the forums. That way you get a little notice.
Follow us on Twitch. We have 85 followers, which is nice. Follow us down there. Hit that heart button.
Yeah, Twitch is important as well. But you can also subscribe on the forums. That way, anytime someone posts there, you get to see a little bit of the conversation that kind of goes into some of the background of our shows. So.
And get the Twitter symbol down there sometime tomorrow beneath our Twitch stream.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out later.
Blake, you got time to do that?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, because I know, man, busy. So. All right.
Yeah, everybody's. We'll take care of that tomorrow. Anyway, I'm gonna hit stop. We can complete the call offline and do some of the technical stuff. So let me
give you my best Matthew McConaughey to end it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
See you guys later.
Peace, guys.